Hey,
Hello.
does my
And
microphone
by
work?
the way, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Maybe people are forgot that we have a meeting today. Let's wait for a minute. Otherwise, we can start. GM, do you have any update for us today so we can add it to the agenda?
I can talk for 5 minutes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I can
Could
share
be
you
quick.
this link. Yeah, please add it to this agenda on Zoom chat and share the link.
Okay, thank you.
Neil, should we wait more or like we can start with Basil?
We can start. So then maybe hello everybody. From the Basel side, we would like to present two things that are related to the LTE integration tests. And Lars will start with presenting a new workflow with the Baselified integration test services.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Yes, so we have a new workflow that is already running in CI, and what it's doing is it's running the LTE intake tests on the Bazel build services. And this is really important for us because it just gives us more confidence for when the Bazel switchover will happen, that we actually know the services are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And yeah, so this is the overview from the GitHub Actions tab, and there are a lot of red runs here. You can sort of ignore these. These are due to the brownouts from macOS 10 runners being phased out. So this happens with all the intake tests. Otherwise, they are at least as stable as the make LTE intake tests. So there are some failures due to the traffic server. Yeah, but we can look at some of the newer runs here, and the runtimes is sort of, it's maybe a little bit faster than the make workflows, but it's similar. So if we look in here, we can also find the Bazel profile data here. So we can get all the details of the build of the services here. And then if we look at the steps, it's actually really similar to the LTE, so to the make workflow. The main difference is sort of here. And right now the make the Bazel build is somewhat on the slow side, but it's maybe the same time as the make build. We are not using the remote cache right now, so there's no cache at all for the Bazel build. This is due to some network issues that are probably, so there's some combination of the VM and the Bazel remote cache that is giving some issues, but we'll hopefully fix that. And then we expect that we could maybe also save 20 to 30 minutes on the Bazel build. So we should be much, much faster if we use all the caching. Otherwise, so why do we have this extra step here? In the make workflow, all of this is done completely in Fabric. Here we do a local vagrant SSH call. And actually, something similar is already done in the fab file. So for example, running the intake tests is done with a Fabric function that then does a local call. So it's a local call from the runner, and that is again an SSH call. So it's sort of circumventing Fabric with this local functionality. And the reason for this is that Fabric is not really good with a lot of logging. So if something produces a lot of logging, that this sort of gets stuck and piles up, and in Fabric takes a long time to send all of the logging. And with Bazel, there could be a 20-minute Bazel build that generates a lot of logging, and it will take maybe 4 hours or so for all the logging to get through. So it's just really not working. And yeah, we already have all of these workarounds. And for Bazel, it was easiest to just do a vagrant SSH, which doesn't have this issue. And actually, we're also thinking that it might be good in general for the LTE intake test workflows to not use Fabric for this, since we already have all these workarounds. So yeah, if you have a strong opinion on this or some argument why Fabric would be needed here, please get in touch. Yeah, otherwise, this is working quite nicely. And yeah, there's still a lot of room to optimize, of course. So one, using the remote cache. Then there's also some make steps which are or will become unnecessary in the future. In particular, right now, we're just building the services with Bazel, but not the tests. And I will hand over to Niels now, who will tell us something in this direction, because we could also run and build the tests themselves with Bazel.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Then I will grab the screen. 1 second. So you should see my terminal. As Lars said, I want to present not running the integration test versus Baselified services, but running the integration tests directly with Bazel. This was something Christian Wager was working on, but he has no time today, so I will present for him. What we have here is a script that with which the integration tests can be executed with Bazel. Why do we use a script here and not Bazel directly? The point here is Bazel tries to be hermetically, to execute something hermetically. In particular, Bazel is running in a sandbox. Of course, this is not working for integration tests because, as the name says, we want to test integration with other systems, and these are not reachable in a sandbox. So what we are doing here is building the integration tests with Bazel, but then executing them directly, the created artifacts. So the script has a lot of features. The most noteworthy I will present, but one important point here is this is for now only the extended integration tests. The extended integration tests have two special tests. This is basically a setup test and a tear down test that needs to run at the beginning and at the end. So these are not really tests, but they are for setup. The script will execute these tests automatically, only if you don't say you want to skip them. So in certain situations, you might want to skip them. Yeah. So other features, to be very quickly show them, there's a feature to list all extended tests. So these are the tests that were Baselified by Christian. He went the extra mile and also tagged the traffic server tests. So now we have the feature here to list all traffic server tests inside of the extended tests. This means all tests that need a running traffic server in order to be executed. So, and to show you to execute one test, hopefully it doesn't take long. So I call the script. I say I want to skip the tear down and the setup tests. I already executed them in order to show this to you a little bit faster. Have the path to the tests, and the target, the test I want to execute is the attach, detach, dedicated test. At the beginning, you see that Bazel is building, but this is pretty fast because I executed it before, so the artifact is actually cached. This is a one-time action that is needed, and immediately it is starting executing the test. And I think the logging here, most of the participants recognize it, so it's just the logging from the integration test. But don't worry, I picked a test that doesn't run too long. And maybe what I didn't say at the beginning, on this Magma test instance, no make was executed before. It's not necessary for these tests then. That's it. The test passed. It was executed. So this is what I wanted to present. Are there any questions for Lars or me regarding the integration test with Bazel?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So for integration tests, could it be possible to run integration tests on a deployment of Magma that is not built here by Bazel? So here I'm specifically referring, so we have, for example, a pipeline that, or whatever, any version of Magma that is deployed somewhere, and I want to check if it's working properly. Could we run those tests?
No. This window here is the test VM. This window here is the Magma VM with the syslogging, and the test run versus this VM here. And yes, it is possible to run them versus other instances, but this is actually something we are currently working on. It's another topic that we have a production VM where we can install the Magma Debian package and then run the integration tests. This is in principle possible, but we need to change a lot of configuration for that. So the build is a little bit different. But if you are interested in details, let me know. So the main point is that the pipeline D and the session D configuration needs to be changed. Some environment variables need to be set, and the service configurations need to be adapted.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Does this answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
So I have a question. The LT test is now running on macOS 12 runners.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you repeat, please?
The macOS 12 runners that we have on GitHub Actions, are we running tests there?
I don't know about integration tests on macOS runners. And I would be surprised if it's currently possible, because I don't think or is it already completely possible to run Magma on ARM architecture? I mean, apart from the Dockerized approach.
I think the question is the LTE intake test in CI. They are running in VMs in
the CI.
macOS runners.
Yeah, they're running in VMs.
On macOS runners, right?
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, on macOS runners. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Anything else?
Any more Bazel questions? If not, then yeah, we can move to the 5G updates.
Hi, hello all. I'll share my screen. Yeah, with the 5G SA, we have 5 features which are ready for release. 2 features are very much in testing, plus they are waiting for PRs to be merged related to IPv6 and GTP extension header. We'll talk on those. And also at parallel, we are continuing the scale testing, and we are testing the regression and the test cases in the CI are continuing. This is while we are doing all the regression testing, there are issues coming up in QA testing. And this is the list of the defects which got fixed. And there are 2 defects related to registration and subscriber profile. So the first one is, this is the error was not, there was not a proper error for the Suki registration during decryption, and it was just showing some traceback. So the issue is fixed there. And the next one, Suki profile configured through Swagger API, it was now getting populated into the database. Those issues are fixed. And next set of issue is related to PDU session. One issue is with the GenX Gnode V, and one is with the IPv6 PDN type. So with GenX, there was issues with the buffer causing, there was extra buffer we were not handling properly in the session accept message. That's interop-related issue got fixed, and then the issue was the session one not getting accepted for PDN type of IPv6. So there are some fixes there. Last 2 issues are subscriber not showing up when we were reconciling IMSI. The issue got fixed, and then again one traceback related issue. The bunch of peers got merged. I mean, one was related to no-net split through IPv6 feature we were working on, and there are some issues related to implicit deregistration and re-registration, and GAP reset, multiple QoS policies for the IMSI, and registration retry failure for the GUI change. So there are enough hardening of these features happening, so which is a good thing. This is a kind of status of feature which are either not merged or still going through testing. IPv6, we have one issue waiting for the merge, is again tied up with the OBS package, which mainly we were talking of GTP extension support issue 12529. That is actually one of the major code changes. They are relying on the OBS package in JFrog, right? But at the same time, the IPv6 issue also is blocked because of the same reason, but the changes are contained in there. But with GTP extension, is more exposure. So once we have them merged, it will need more testing. Regression and scale testing perspective is continue testing and fixing the issue that we talked. And in the CA, in 5G WLCA test cases, there are a couple of test cases failing, which team is working on it, and we'll have that fixed end of this week. These are the read updates, Shubnam. This is kind of covering high level. The more details in the if you see in the bottom the link there, we have meeting on 27, lot more detail. But from this is just highlights of of 1.8 release. From 5G SA perspective, we are waiting for this OBS dev package. I think there's some progress has been made, but it was not fully propagated. So we are waiting for that to be done. And there are 3 peers here listed. One is for the GTP, the main one, and then there is documentation for GTP, and then the IPv6 we talked. The next update, kind of related, is with the 5G, is because there's a patch coming in from Meta, and we are waiting to conclusion on that or get it merged. And after that, some testing is required from Wavelabs team. 5G SA, I think we talked to test cases. Those will be, we are working on those. 1.8 branch update. I think these are some of the highlights. What's kind of blocking the branch. CI job to be host AGW Docker is we are targeting end of this week. CI stability, again, there's small glitch, I think, sitting there. The main proxy, again, in discussion. 1.8 branch seems like can be created next week, so we are watching it very closely how it moves. And after that, 2-3 weeks of testing is required. And there's a lot more detailed status in it's very similar in that link there, but this is very much we have today. Any questions? Okay, that's very much Shivam from my side.
Yeah, thank you, Ranjit. So if not, no more questions, then yeah, we can move to the DevOps updates. Pardon my throat. So I can read this quickly. So LF is actually setting up a new Artifactory for us. So once that is up, we have to migrate all our packages. That's in progress. We have set up a DevOps cookbook for community to read and see all our CI and pipelines and all the hidden AWS and Firebase structure that we are using. So this document can be found in the wiki.magma.org. So you can see all the things, how we are running. And we have also built, like we are nearly done with the CI pipeline for ARM. We are building ARM pipelines for building ARM images. And now we have also started releasing Docker images for domain proxy, starting with 1.7. And starting with 1.8, we will also be releasing Helm charts for that. Okay. Any questions about? Okay, then. Should we move to the release updates? Max, would you like to take it up?
Sorry, I heard my name, but I actually have to say I
so
wasn't focused.
Release updates. Release updates.
Oh,
You have
release?
an update? Yeah.
So yeah, we I think the releasing specific updates were given by Dajit. There are still some blockers open, but I think every blocker reported to be closed till end of this week, and we are planning with the branching for start of next week. And yeah, and also maybe an important update is the OVS thing that is blocking some of the PRs by Wavelabs. We are working on getting the new pre-burned images uploaded soon. So I hope that we will have that done by today. And if all tests are green, I think we can do that. And that will then finally unblock everything that is currently blocked by OVS.
Great. Any release questions? If not, then yeah, we can move to the Chamdi update from Ian.
Okay, sure. So I'll share my screen. It should be pretty quick here. All right. Okay, you should see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Yeah, we see.
Yeah, you're able to see. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. All right, so all I wanted to share here is the fact that we published how to deploy Magma Orchestrator using Juju. So there's now one new way to deploy Orchestrator. So it's in the next version of the documentation. So once our Magma's next version is released, that should be in the current one. But ultimately, here it is. So if you want to deploy Orchestrator using Juju, you can follow those steps. I'm really happy about it. It's much less steps than the current way to deploy Orchestrator. And more than just being simpler and quicker, it's you have more options. You can deploy it on ultimately any Kubernetes distributions that you care about. We've tested it with Microcades, Google Cloud, GKE, EKS, AKS from Azure. So yeah, so if you want to test it, go at it. Know that it's not yet complete. For example, the integration with Elasticsearch, Grafana, Prometheus, is not yet fully completed. However, you should still be able to deploy Orchestrator, relate an access gateway to it, and use it and test it for yourself. So yeah, we're actively working on those things that I said that are not yet complete. We're also working on making it possible to deploy access gateway and federation gateway using Juju. So ultimately, the end goal here is for it like to be this super simple and easy way to both deploy Magma, but also do all the lifecycle activities of it. So if you need to scale it, upgrade it, add new components. So let's say you add a new access gateway and you want to add it to your orchestrator, all you would have to do is Juju relate access gateway to orchestrator in just one command. So yeah, like I said, the idea is to make it as super as easy as possible to maintain and manage Magma for anybody. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share. So if you want to play with it, go ahead. It's documented now. That's it.
I have some question. You said like we can deploy access gateway using Juju. That is the Debian based or the Docker based?
Today you cannot do it, so it's still in progress.
Okay.
And it's going to be the Debian based because the thing is that we wanted to deploy it, like if it's the Docker based version, we want to deploy it on Kubernetes. However, currently, you need to be some sort of Kubernetes admin and install packages on top of each of your Kubernetes nodes, like OVS, which is not realistic for most deployment. Like in practice, most people that use a Kubernetes cluster are not going to go on each node and install custom packages. So until like access gateway is easily deployable in Kubernetes, probably using OVN or something, we will use the Debian package and install it directly on Ubuntu.
Okay, great. And from this deployment, I see that Elasticsearch and Fluentd are still missing. Yes.
Correct. They're still missing. We're actively working on those, but yeah, still missing.
Okay. Great. Any more questions for Ian?
Yeah, so that's it. And if you want to just compare the length, just the number of steps you need to do to have it deployed, it's much shorter. So just that in itself, I think, is very promising and exciting, especially for new joiners, like people that have never deployed Magma. It should be much simpler for them. So yeah, that's it.
Ian, I also have a question. In our normal deployment, we have some extra Helm charts for LTE Federation Gateway. When we deploy using Juju, all those packages are like installed by default, or we have to do some extra steps?
Which packages you're talking about, like the LTE packages or stuff?
Yeah, like LTE and Federation Gateway. We have separate Helm charts for deploying those components in like our AWS method, Terraform method. But if we are using Juju, so is it like enabled by default, or what we have to do?
So Federation Gateway is not enabled by default. So we're working on a bundle so that if you require your Federation Gateway, you would deploy it and relate it to your orchestrator. As for LTE, it is deployed by default.
Okay, great. Because in future, once our domain proxy code is ready, we will also have to give an option for installing that as well.
Once what? Sorry.
Domain proxy code is ready. We are also building Helm charts for domain proxy and Docker images also. Yeah,
this we have to think of whether it should be there by default or I think it's probably going to be an add-on. Most people are not going to need it, as far as I understand. So that would probably be an add-on. So you deploy it and you relate it to your deployment. So if you are also curious, in the documentation, there's a link to the GitHub project for it. Like it's a separate GitHub project that we maintain for it. Still open source, of course, and you can contribute to it and poke at it if you want. So I just posted it here. So have fun.
Okay, great. So any more questions for Guillaume? Okay, if not, so we have some time if anyone would like to bring something up, any topic. Okay, I guess not. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.